I first heard that everyone is quitting tech from a TikTok filmed by a guy who was very obviously still at his desk, wearing his company hoodie with the office fire extinguisher in frame. So a credible source. The kind of journalism that used to require a newsroom and now just needs ring lights and an open calendar invite. And then I started seeing headlines like, "The Great Tech Exodus." Dramatic stuff. Except every single one of those headlines was written by someone who works in tech journalism, which, last time I checked, still counts as tech. It's like someone writing a breakup note while sitting on their ex's couch. People talk about it like it's this massive cultural shift. But honestly, it feels more like when everyone said they were quitting Facebook, and then did absolutely nothing except stop posting birthday wishes and quietly lurk for another decade. It turns out quitting something is a lot easier when you don't actually go anywhere. So yeah, apparently the whole industry is collapsing, but in a very chill, I'll finish this sprint first kind of way. And that's the part that makes me think something else is going on underneath all this. Something a bit more snack-related. If you ever want to understand tech culture, just imagine a preschool, but everyone's wearing noise-canceling headphones and arguing about Jira. That's basically the whole pitch. Come work here. We have kombucha on tap. Right, because nothing says innovation like fermented tea that tastes like a dare. Google basically invented the modern perk economy. Free food, massages, scooters, all very cool. Until you realize every perk exists to keep you in the building long enough to forget what sunlight feels like. If the cafeteria had beds, half the staff would still be asleep under a heat lamp, and somehow we all convinced ourselves that free LaCroix was worth it. Not even good LaCroix, the kind where you take a sip and your brain goes, "Ah yes, the faint memory of fruit." But there you are, telling yourself this lightly carbonated whisper of lime justifies staying online until 10 p.m. again. Then companies started cutting perks during layoffs. First, it was the kombucha taps, then the meditation room. Eventually, someone replaced the cold brew bar with a single Keurig that made a sound like it regretted being alive, as if that would improve morale. As if morale was something a coffee machine could fix. And that's the moment people finally notice the cracks. Because once the perks disappear, all that's left is the workload, which had been quietly catching fire for years. I read somewhere that burnout is the new office plant. Everyone has one, nobody knows how to take care of it, and half the time it's already dead, but we all just politely ignore it. Supposedly 70% of developers report feeling burned out, and the other 30% are lying because their manager follows them on LinkedIn and likes all their posts a little too fast. There's a whole hierarchy to it now. It starts with just being tired, then exhausted, then whatever that stage is where you hear the fire alarm and think, weird calendar alert, must be a deploy. By the time you hit the level where you're answering emails from your bathroom floor, congratulations, you've unlocked senior burnout, which looks great on a resume, but terrible on your soul. And tech people treat emergencies like they're trapped in a submarine. A system outage happens, and suddenly everyone's speaking in short, panicked sentences, eating cold snacks, and accepting that this might be how they die. I once watched a team troubleshoot for 9 hours without blinking. I'm still not convinced one of them wasn't a hallucination. But the wild thing is how normal it all started to feel. Like, of course everyone's drowning. That's the job. Until something happened that made the drowning noticeably worse. Something seasonal. Something with a slide deck. The strangest thing about modern layoffs is how cheerful the announcements look. You open your email expecting doom, and instead, you're greeted by a pastel slide deck with a title like Reshaping Our Future Together, which is a very upbeat way of saying, half of you should not bother coming in on Monday. And then you get companies like Meta or Amazon posting record profits while laying off thousands of people. It's the corporate version of someone telling you they're cutting back on calories while chugging a milkshake the size of a fire hydrant. You want to stop them and say, "You know we can see you, right?" Then there are the voluntary departure packages. These are amazing. They're breakup emails, but with severance. It's like the company saying, "Listen, it's not you, no, actually it is you. Here's some money. Please leave before we make this weird." At some point, layoffs stopped being emergencies and started feeling like weather reports. Chance of restructuring in the afternoon, bring a jacket. And after a while, people didn't just worry about their jobs. They started wondering what they were even doing with their lives, which is probably how we got to the next phase, the great pivot into something that feels less like falling through a trap door every quarter. The first time I tried freelancing, I spent 3 hours making an invoice and then immediately took a nap out of fear. There's something about sending a PDF labeled invoice_1_final_final_really_final.pdf that makes you rethink every decision you've ever made. Suddenly, a 9 to 5 with mandatory stand-ups doesn't seem so bad. A lot of people say they're consultants now, which is a polite way of saying unemployed, but with business casual optimism. You meet them for coffee and they talk about their client pipeline. And then you realize the pipeline is just their cousin who once asked them how to reset a password. And then there's the content creator route. That's where you leave tech so you can talk about tech all day. Instead of building software, you're reacting to updates about software. You become the town crier for features no one asked for. It's less stressful, but only in the way yelling into a well is technically less stressful than having a job. But that's the thing. People aren't escaping the chaos. They're just repackaging it into something that doesn't come with performance reviews. And once enough folks did that, it kind of exposed a bigger truth everyone had been avoiding for years. A truth tech wasn't quite ready for. Here's the moment I realized tech went off the rails. I heard someone pitch a startup as Uber, but for hugging. And the worst part wasn't the idea. It was how everyone in the room nodded like, yeah, that tracks. That's innovation. We've solved transportation. Let's monetize physical affection next. Every new product feels like a sequel to something that didn't need a sequel. AI tools especially. There are AI writing assistants, AI meeting summarizers, AI assistants for the AI assistants. I saw an AI therapy bot the other day that looked like it needed to talk to someone about its own stress levels. It kept suggesting I take deep breaths, but the way it typed made it feel like it was the one hyperventilating. And the pitches all have this tired energy now. Not bad, just emotionally jet-lagged. We've created a platform that optimizes synergy between, and then you can watch the presenter's soul quietly walk out of their body to get a coffee. At some point, the industry stopped feeling like the future and started feeling like a group project that never ends. Everyone's still working. Everyone's still building stuff. It just doesn't inspire the same sparkle it used to, which is probably why people started doing something much more radical than quitting. They stopped pretending the sparkle was still there. I think the official resignation letter of 2024 is just a TikTok of someone staring into the camera whispering, "I'm leaving tech," while their work laptop is still open behind them, begging for one last Jira update. It's oddly poetic, like a love note written on a sticky note during lunch break. But the thing people don't mention is how often they come back. 6 months later, there they are again on LinkedIn, posting something like, "Excited to share I'm joining a new team," which is corporate speak for, "I remembered rent exists and health insurance is real." And honestly, respect. Survival is survival. No shame in crawling back to the laptops we swore we'd never charge again. What's actually happening isn't a mass escape. It's a collective exhale. People finally admitted tech isn't a magical land where your ideas float on beanbags and turn into IPOs. It's just work. Weird, messy, occasionally sparkly work. So no, tech isn't dying. It's not collapsing. It's not even quitting. It's just going through its emo phase. Black hoodie, dramatic size, journaling in a dark corner, and eventually it'll grow out of it, right after it finishes writing one more sad TikTok.